Now, the billionaire Koch brothers are now looking to influence the midterm elections in a really big way. According to Bloomberg, the Conservative Political Action Network, led by billionaires Charles and David Koch, plan to spend close to $400 million on policy and politics during the midterm election cycle. Now, that's about a 60% increase over 2015 and 2016. So they're pretty much doubling their expenditures. Now, that would include as much as $20 million in 2018 to sell voters on the Republican tax cuts. That's funny because there's nothing like rich people spending money on propaganda to lie to you about the tax cuts that they got. Oh, no, it's going to trickle down. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. Well, you need to pay people to do that? Why don't you just pay your workers more? That would make sense. But no, we can't do that. We're going to spend $20 million instead of it going to your paychecks, right? And people actually getting paid more. No, we're going to pay people to lie to you about the gigantic tax cuts that we have just received that aren't actually going to help you. No, we promise. This time it'll trickle down. Again, bullshit. Complete bullshit. Now, the plans were outlined to reporters at a 3-day summit for some 550 donors and potential donors at a resort near Palm Springs, California. Tim Phillips, president of the Koch-affiliated advocacy group Americans for Prosperity, said the spending would be the largest investment we've ever had in a midterm election. And that's because, again, they're spending about more than double what they spent back in 2015 and 2016. They should spend about $250 million. Now, $400 million, that's serious money, right? And most of which, of course, would be used to buy our politicians. Our politicians, they spend about 46 hours a day on the phone calling donors. So Republican politicians especially are looking at this and going, yes, here comes my payday. No, what this is that they passed the tax cuts for the rich. Now they're getting rewarded. It's just like Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan also got rewarded by the Koch brothers for passing these gigantic tax cuts. Mission accomplished. Good job, Paul. Good job. You just saved us billions of dollars. Here's your reward. Here's your treat. It's disgusting, right? So look, why would they be giving so much? Other than, of course, their just reward, right? Well, they're actually also worried about Democrats, right? No, look, here's the thing. Republicans are actually incredibly unpopular. Surprise, surprise, right? Because they haven't really done anything to benefit regular people. And they're really worried about that. So they're going to have to go on at these midterms and defend their record. Now, what is their record? Well, other than dysfunction, well, again, they give giant tax cuts to corporations and millionaires. This is a bill that was deeply unpopular with the majority of the American people. Only 24%, according to an NBC Wall Street Journal poll taken in December, thought the tax cuts were a good idea. 24%. Some 60% say that they will only benefit the wealthy. They will not see any benefit from this. They also, again, moving forward, I could say more about the tax cut bill, but I've already said so much in other videos. But as far as the record, they failed to repeal the ACA, right? And failed to get their own healthcare bill passed, which their healthcare bill was incredibly unpopular. All of their legislation that has been proposed has been horrendously unpopular with the American people. And now they're worried. They're worried about this. So here come the Koch brothers to go and say, don't worry, we're going to pay and put out more propaganda to prevent Democrats from taking over. Now, that's the Republicans. Now here comes the Democrats. More specifically, here comes the part where I actually go after the Democrats. The only reason that this has a chance of working is because of how ridiculously bad the Democrats are at doing both politics and policy. Again, we had Chuck Schumer that folded on the Dreamers. Something so easy as something that has majority support, 60 to 70%, In some polls, even 80% of Americans want to believe that the dreamers should be protected. What did Chuck Schumer do? He folded like a cheap suit. These Democrats have failed to embrace popular policies. For example, Medicare for all, right? Over 60% of the American public want Medicare for all. Every Democrat in the Senate, or nearly every Democrat in the Senate, should be in favor of this bill, should have co-sponsored this bill. Now, there's some smart ones who are like, ooh, 2020, I'm looking at the next election. It looks like we're going to need to go in a more progressive direction as far as at least rhetoric goes. So you have, people like Kamala Harris that are signing on, and other prominent Democrats signing on to Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all bill, co-sponsoring, right? The rest of the Democrats are like, nope, can't do that. Far too progressive. Pie in the sky, can't do it. All these different reasons to go and, of course, not back this incredibly popular policy when really it comes down to how much money they've received from the pharmaceutical industry and health insurance companies. But anyway, the point is that these Republicans, they resist Trump in public, and yet they also vote with Trump for many of his policies when people aren't paying attention. For example, Democrats helped give Trump warrantless wiretapping powers, increased spying powers. They have given somebody that they have called incompetent. And they've even gone so far as to try and say, oh, he's mentally unfit. That, of course, look, there are conspiracies out there that the doctor was lying. I should believe in the doctor when he says, yeah, Trump is, he's mentally stable. He's fit. Well, that doesn't say anything about his intelligence. Okay. And of course, a good example is that is like, I scored 30 out of 30 he brags about scoring high on a test that only people that have dementia can fail. So take that for what it is. But look, not only that, but in the recent budget where Chuck Schumer abandoned the Dreamers and the rest of the Democrats abandoned the Dreamers, also had an increase of the defense budget by $60 to $70 billion. So that's what they're talking about for their continuing budget. They want to increase the military. It's not Trump. Yes, Trump and the Republicans want to increase the military budget. Here's the Democrats right off the bat saying, we're going to give you $60 to $70 billion for the military. Why? This isn't an accident. Okay? It isn't an accident. Democrats are bought by billionaires, just like the Koch brothers. And look, on the Democratic side, the supposed liberal side, they have their own billionaires. Let me give you an example. Stephen Klubeck, right? Klubeck hates Bernie Sanders. He hates progressive ideas. And he threatened, we're going to take away the money. I'm going to take away the money to Democrats if you start being too progressive. You start going too far left, I'm going to take away my funding. So what are they doing? They're going to play it safe. Resistance without actually resisting. Mick resistance. Look, the Democrats sicken me with their corruption. No other party would let monstrous people like Republicans get into power in the first place. They're weak. And of course, the Koch brothers know this, right? They know the Democrats are essentially controlled opposition. They're bought. That's why he can sit back and sip cocktails with his buddies. In fact, he says, quote, I'm more excited about what we're doing and about the opportunities that I've ever been. We have made more progress in the last 5 years than I have had in the previous 50. And he would not have had those gains if the Democrats were actually progressive and had pushed for real change. But look, he thinks it's going to be a cakewalk in 2018. Well, let's see what happens when the wave of real progressives, many of which are fighting against establishment Democrats right now, get a chance to run against his candidates. If he thinks it's going to be easy, he's got another thing coming. So let's get out there. In the midterms, and in the primaries before the midterms, especially, and go out there and vote for real progressives, so that when the midterms do come around, we can crush them. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/ TYT Nation.